Well, we're now going to look at muscle fibres in this next delivery and fibre types. First one we're going to look at is slow twitch or type 1 muscle fibres. Structural features of them is that they are small in diameter, they have large myoglobin content, so they got a lot of oxygen in them. There's a lot of mitochondria or little battery packs on these. They have a lot of capillaries, so they're well oxygenated because there's a big supply of blood to them, and they're red in colour. The functional features of this muscle fibre type is that they have increased oxygen delivery, they produce less force, they're long-term contractions, and they are resistant to fatigue. So it takes a long time for you to fatigue this muscle fibre type. The activities that we would expect to find on slow twitch muscle fibre is maintaining posture, endurance-based activities, so things like marathons and stuff like that. The next one we look at is type 2 or fast twitch. Fast twitch muscle fibre is large in diameter, it has smaller myoglobin content, so not so much oxygen, then there are fewer mitochondria and fewer capillaries. They're white in colour. Functional features of these: they have decreased oxygen delivery, they produce a lot of force, they have short-term contractions, and they are less resistant to fatigue, so fatigue really quickly. Activities involved with white twitch, rapid intense movement. Response to the neuromuscular system to exercise. So having a little look at this now. Short-term response is vasodilation, so divert blood to the muscles. Response to the neuromuscular system to exercise in terms of long-term adaptations to aerobic exercise. It increases the number and size of mitochondria in the muscle fibres, increases in the number of capillaries surrounding the fibres, and also an increase in the number of aerobic enzymes, stored glycogen and triglycerides. Response to the neuromuscular system to exercise in the long-term adaptations to strength training. So we have a decreased nervous inhibition, so it makes it easy to get nervous messages to the muscle. An increase in the diameter of the recruited fibres, so the muscle fibre gets thicker, and also an increase in the work performed under anaerobic conditions or high stress conditions. Anaerobic means without oxygen. So quickly moving on to the principles of training. So we have something called overload, and the overload is a way of challenging a muscle to work outside of its comfort zone. So the degree of extra challenge depends upon the aims of the fitness level of the individual. A lot of people may want to get bigger muscles, other people may want to tan. We have something called specificity, and this is training that is relevant to the desired outcome. So if you want to have big biceps, for instance, then you would do a bicep curl in a hypertrophy range. So that's a specific thing to make the biceps grow. Reversibility, you may have heard of use it or lose it. You cannot store fitness. Once you've done it, it's there, but only there as long as you maintain it. Muscles which aren't regularly used will suffer muscle wastage, or the opposite of hypertrophy, which is atrophy. Looking at progression now, so as your body adapts to workloads, then you can complete it without feeling challenged. So the next step is to increase the workload again, so that what becomes maintenance training now becomes a progression. Adaptation is an anatomical or physiological change that occurs in the body, such as getting stronger or losing fat or increasing muscle size, dependent on the training that you carry out or the stresses that you put on your body. And the body will adapt to any new stress by protecting and strengthening the areas that's being stressed. Hypertrophy is something a lot of people train for. its cross-sectional diameter of trained muscle fibres will increase when you train using this method. In other words, it will make the muscle bigger. Atrophy is a decrease in the cross-sectional diameter of the muscle fibres, and this is when we don't use muscle, it will shrink. If you've ever broken a bone or something, then you'll notice that the muscle around that bone, when it isn't being used, will shrink and virtually disappear for the amount of time that you have either a cast or support on the broken bone.